This is the Switch 2. It's Nintendo's latest and greatest hybrid handheld console. I've been using it for about the past week, and it's pretty much an improvement in most ways on the original Switch, but I don't think everything Nintendo did is a slam dunk. Now the big new feature is this giant new screen. 7.9 inches, 1080p resolution, 120 Hz. It's an LCD display rather than the OLED of the most recent Switch model. And it's awesome. It's really, really good. That 120 Hz refresh rate is a little bit hypothetical at the moment though. There aren't really any launch games that properly take advantage of it yet, which is a bit of a shame. I probably would have liked to have seen that in action, but we're not quite there yet. We're still waiting for Nintendo to put out something like Metroid Prime 4 that actually takes advantage of that display. So it does have a much improved kickstand compared to the last version, or you can attach it to the brand new dock. This dock's actually got a bit of juice in it this time. You can connect the console to it up to a compatible TV and it'll up-res what you're looking at up to about 4K. Only 60 Hz though. It's not going to do the 120 Hz, which is a bit of a shame, but hopefully that's something Nintendo can solve with some software updates. It's worth noting that all of that benefit has a trade-off in the battery department. The OG Switch had a smaller battery, but it would typically last around 4.5 hours when you're playing a AAA title, whereas the Switch 2 lasts a minimum of about 2 hours when playing something demanding. That's kind of the way these bigger, juicier handhelds are going at the moment, unfortunately, unless you want something more low-powered that's going to last you all day. So it is quite a bit smaller than a lot of the PC handhelds we've been playing with, stuff like the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and the Lenovo Legion Go, but it's also quite a bit thinner than those devices. Now that's all well and good, but it actually makes it pretty uncomfortable to hold, in all honesty. It's kind of like just holding a tablet with buttons on the side. I would use this thing for about 10 minutes and my hands would start fatiguing because there's no real support. So in general, I think the buttons are pretty good. They are a good size, they're not too big, they're not too small. I think that the analog sticks are still a bit small. They're bigger than they were on the original Switch, but compared to something like the Switch Pro controller or even something like a Steam Deck, they're much smaller and they're much less comfortable to use. So new to the Switch 2 is the addition of mouse mode, where essentially you can take off one of the Joy-Cons, they have a little IR sensor in them, and you basically just use it like you would a PC mouse. It's okay, generally. There isn't a lot you can actually use it for yet though. I did play a few rounds of Fortnite using it like I would on a PC. I didn't do very well, but it worked. It worked okay. Unfortunately, there's not really many games you can actually use this thing on yet. I think it makes sense in places like menus or the eShop, which is way better. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But in terms of games, most games don't support it. No Man's Sky would be a great place for it. I've played that on PC, works really good with a mouse, but on here you have to use the inbuilt controllers, which is a bit of a shame. Now, one of the other big problems that I had with mouse mode is that even when you have the device, you're still technically using it as a controller. So you still have to press all the buttons on the side, like a mouse. And that's just really uncomfortable. Like if I'm playing Fortnite and I'm running around with this side and I'm moving with this side and then I also need to be jumping with this side, it doesn't really work. I think it would make a lot more sense if there was a better control scheme, but that's something that they'll have to figure out moving forward. So speaking of games, I think we should talk a bit about the launch lineup. I think the launch lineup's a little bit lacking. Mario Kart's really fun. We've been playing it in the office. It's great, but it's not really a system seller for everyone. I think Cyberpunk 2077 running on this is really impressive, but I don't really want to buy that game again. That game came out 5 years ago. It's impressive, but it's not super exciting. The same situation applies to the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom updates. They do play a lot better on this. I accidentally played the Tears of the Kingdom version that was not the updated one, and it ran kind of like crap. And then I realized and updated it, and it was immediately playing at 1080p, 60 FPS, locked. It looked fantastic, it played great. So if you haven't played those games yet, I think this is the best way to play them. But if you're like me and you've already sunk 100 or more hours into both of those games, it's not really a selling point. It's more, this would have been cool, One thing that I do want to mention that I think that this does a lot better is the eShop. On the original Switch, the eShop was terrible. It's incredibly slow. On this, it is much smoother. It's much faster. Everything loads better. You can use the mouse mode in this, and actually it's a really good experience. Honestly, credit where credit's due, it's a lot better. So with all that said, what do we actually think about the Switch 2? I feel like it's pretty good. I think I've been a little bit harsh, maybe, but that's honestly just because the original Switch is one of my favorite consoles. And really, this thing is pretty much an improvement in every way, except for a few little stumbles that we talked about. It kind of frustrates me that it's uncomfortable to hold for long periods of time. We've got a 120Hz screen that we can't really use at the moment. It's a little bit of a shame that the launch lineup isn't stacked. I'm not too worried about the Switch 2, honestly. It's gonna get there. I think it's just a matter of time. So what did you think? Did you manage to get one on launch day, or are you waiting for a particular game before you jump in? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this on Men of Many.